When I was young, I made some mistakes, and those mistakes cost me basically half of my life. So for me, when I was in when I went to prison, I had a choice to make. Uh, Either I continue to water the seed that got me into the situation I was in, or I find a new seed that I could cultivate
Mm.
and be water. And so that's the decision I made. And it's brought me to where I am today, uh, to be a husband and a father, entrepreneur, because I took the lessons I learned based on that adversity you talked about early on. I took those lessons and changed them and turned them around so that I can do something better with my life.
Absolutely. I mean, they say the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. It's time for me to bring on our guest, Shawte, and he's going to be sharing his story with us. Hey, Shawte, how are you?
Good, good.
Good, good, good. It's great to have you join us today. What time is it where you are right now?
It is 9:20 in the morning.
9:20 in the morning. It's amazing, isn't it? Technology, what technology can do. You're a completely different part of the world, completely different time zone, and we can connect in this way. So I think this is one of the things we really should be grateful and thankful for, especially this whole COVID-19 thing that's affected the whole world. I think it's just made us all realize just the power of technology, really. And I think it's really one of those things we should be grateful for. That of course, it has its drawbacks and things, but it's great that we can connect in this way. So welcome to Future Fit.
Thank you, thank you.
Can you
Glad,
just sorry?
said I'm glad to be here.
It's great to have you here. Can you just share with us, just tell us a little bit about yourself? Um, Let the audience get to know you a little bit better.
So as you said, my name is Shawte Price. I'm in the U.S., actually in Michigan. Um, uh, when I was, as you said in my introduction, when I was young, I made some mistakes, and those mistakes cost me basically half of my life. And it's interesting you're talking about. You mentioned the seed and watering that seed, and you just said being a lifelong learner.
Mm,
And lifelong learners, what they do is they take care of the plant that came out of that seed.
yeah.
So for me, when I was in when I went to prison, I had a choice to make. Uh, Either I continue to water the seed that got me into the situation I was in, or I find a new seed that I could cultivate
Mm,
and begin to water. And so that's the decision I made. I made a decision, basically what you said, to be a lifelong learner and do something different than I've known in the past.
mm.
And so that's what I did. And it's brought me to where I am today, to be a husband and a father, entrepreneur, because I took the lessons I learned based on that adversity you talked about early on. I took those lessons and changed them and turned them around so that I can do something better with my life.
Absolutely. I mean, they say the definition of insanity is to keep doing the same thing and expect a different result. And I think a lot of us do that. We know we don't like the results that we're seeing, but we just kind of trapped in that vicious circle. We just keep going around doing the same thing. Two powerful words. You said you made a decision. And I think that any change that we're going to make in our lives always has to start with making a decision. It doesn't mean when you make that decision, everything's going to fall into place and everything's going to be honky dory from then on. But at least you start that journey. But if you don't make that decision, you're just trapped in, that same vicious circle. Is like a hamster just going round and round and round. So very, very powerful decision you made, because that decision basically changed the course of your life, really. I
Absolutely.
mean, when we had our brief chat, I was saying, 15 years is a long time. I mean, 15 years in prison, what does that do to you? I want you to just share with us briefly your time there, and how you were able, what brought about that change? What made you, I know you said, you came to that place. Was it just the fact that you went into prison that made you just suddenly wake up, or was it something that happened in prison and you thought, you know what, I can't continue? What actually brought about that shift for you?
Well, they I don't know if you're some people say there's a saying that goes, curiosity killed the cat. And that's kind of what happened to me, because I was a really shy kid, and I got into the trouble I got into because I wanted to fit in. I wanted to be a part of something. So it really wasn't me. So
right,
when I went to prison, I had an opportunity basically to regroup and realize that why would I even think, I knew what I was doing, I shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah.
I wasn't raised to do those type of things. But when you're searching for something and you don't really know what it is,
Yeah.
you're liable to do whatever looking for it.
Yeah.
So I didn't grow up with a father, and so that was something I was lacking, that intimacy of my father in my life. So so yeah, that's kind of how it went. So when I did get in prison, I basically I came to myself and like, what were you
Yes.
thinking? What were you thinking? That you know better than this. I wasn't a the best student in school, but I was a good student in school, but because I was searching for something in the wrong places, that's what led me to where I am. So
Yeah, okay. So I get it. So basically, you ending up where you ended up was the wake up call for you to say, you know what, this is not the life you really want for yourself. And right, okay. So tell us a little bit about your journey. So you decided, okay, I want to change. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I don't even have a clue how I ended up here. But that is just so sad, isn't it? That for one mistake, because from what you're describing to us, it was probably a lapse in judgment or whatever, that you had to pay that huge price of spending 15 years. And of course, you didn't come out of it bitter, because you chose to go down a different path. But maybe would you just share with us briefly, when after making the decision, what was that journey like for you? What was that journey, and what were some of the things that maybe helped you on that journey?
So one of the first things was I was in federal prison. So I was in the only prison that still had a high school. So I just needed like a class to get my high school diploma. So that was one of the first things I did.
Okay.
To get back on track. Because basically I was always in school, by kind of that last year and a half prior to incarceration, I kind of let it fall to the side because of what I got into. So that was my first step. And when I did that, they had so many other classes, and I met, teachers. Some of the teachers, they had a program learning how about the stock market. They had a program where we learned how to do conflict resolution, and we literally wrote a book, a conflict resolution in the book.
Wow.
Of course, in prison, that's a thing, being able to resolve conflict versus fighting or whatever, like that. So that was the beginning, and then I started meeting individuals that were maybe have been there 10, 15 years already, but they were on that same path. So as I cultivated those relationships, that helped me get back on that path to being a lifelong learner. You know what I'm saying? So graduated from high school, they had a college program, took the college program, and it was like a snowball effect. Anything they had that would help me water that new seed, or not even a new seed, actually just start taking care of that plant again that I had let sit in the corner, wasn't getting sun, wasn't giving it any water. So I just took those opportunities and learned from those peoples, and then it was a snowball effect after that.
Awesome, awesome. So that is the power of environment, isn't it? So I'm talking about us being intentional in investing in our personal growth, and environment plays such an important part of that. So prior to going into prison, obviously you had placed yourself in a certain environment which was influencing you in a certain way. And isn't it just ironic that it's in prison that you then place yourself in the right environment? That's quite ironic that it's in prison you then place yourself in the right environment to actually flourish, to actually grow. So viewers, I don't know what environment you've surrounded yourself with, but environment is so important. You know, there's a saying that evil communication corrupts good manners. So basically, even if you are a good person or you have good intentions, if you surround yourself with the wrong people, it's only a matter of time. They will influence us. And we know that that's very prevalent and very common with youngsters, with young teenagers and young people. But to be honest, even with adults as well, even with adults, whoever we surround ourselves with, inevitably really, really does influence us and affect us. So I know that you love working, talking about young people. I know you love working with young people. Tell us a little bit about the work you do with young people.
Yeah. So when I was in prison, I think it had been there 11 years maybe. They had a program. They developed a program where we could go outside of the prison and talk to kids. So I became a part of the program, and that was a stretching for me because I was still kind of a shy person. I wasn't as shy as I was, but so had to develop my basic speech of what I was going to say and how I was going to introduce myself. So once I got in the program, we start going outside the prison, and so we went to group homes, alternative schools, even some like some high schools and stuff like that. And so that once I began to do that and got comfortable with it, that it just I would say another branch of the tree grew off, and I had a passion for that. That a new passion was born that I would be able to help a kid to not do or make some of the mistakes I made
Yeah.
uh, along their journey, because we all, no matter what the situation, we all need somebody to talk to or need someone to encourage us.
Yes.
And I know I didn't have that. I had a loving family, but I didn't really have that environment that I needed to flourish at the time. So yeah, and it was real impactful because if I can, one story about that situation. So we're at an alternative school, and it's about four of us that went out this time, and we're sharing our stories of the decisions we made, and telling these kids that you have choices. Your choices can be better than ours. You don't want to be where we are, and you're coming back to a school from prison talking to yourself. And one young lady, she just began to cry and cry, like uncontrollably, cry. So they're in and out. They take her out the room, in and out. So make a long story short, come to find out, she was about 16, and she had been selling her body to get pills.
Wow.
And so that was another very, very impactful situation for me, that we were able to uh, help her out of that situation by just telling her our stories and telling her that she does have choices. And so
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I was saying before I admitted you that this is the reason, guys, we bring guests on the show. Very guests who've been through different stuff in life, just different stuff in life, but they're all making a decision. Like I said, that's the only thing that changes, a decision. Once you make the decision that I want to impact, I want to make a difference. We're talking about living a life of significance. And it starts with that choice, that decision. I want to make a difference. I want to make something of my life. I want to influence people. I want to do something. I want to start a business, maybe. And I should say, you joined the John Maxwell team that I'm a part of, and you trained to be a trainer, a coach, and a speaker. What's the dream? What's the goal with that?
Overall, I want to be able to not only share my story of 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 growth and change, but be able to maybe just, even if I could just plant a seed in someone's life. I don't even have to be the waterer. I don't have to be the one coming and pruning that the tree that's grown from that seed. But if I know if I could just plant a seed, a seed of change in someone's life, my experience could be worth it.
Yeah.
Everything I went through can be, it can look brighter to me because I took my experience of being confined for 15 and a half years, half of my life pretty much, to being confined in that situation and be able to impact somebody else, to do better things. I don't even have to do the great things. I as long as I can plant a seed, because we've all heard stories of people that are dead and gone, but based on some of the things they shared with other people, that person has done greater things than they could have ever done.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yes.
I like the statement you just made. I don't need to do great things. I just need to do better things. If somebody can just type that in the comment, please. You don't need to do great things. I was talking about significance last week, and I was saying when we hear that word significance, we are tempted to think global, household name, fame. You don't have to be a household name to do something of significance. You don't have to have fame. You just need to decide, I want to change something. I want to touch someone. I want to do something. And that's all. And like you said, Shawte, the person you touch might touch somebody after you're long dead and gone, that person could touch even thousands. So it's like a ripple effect, isn't it? But we just need to do our bit. That's all. You just do your bit. I do my bit. That's all that's expected of us. And no, something else that came to my mind when you're speaking, Shawte, is never waste a pain. Never waste a pain. So maybe you've had pain in your life. Maybe you've had bad experiences. Maybe a marriage breakup. Maybe whatever it may be, don't waste that pain. The important thing is for you to come out of that place a better person, to get your healing so that you can help others. Because there are people who go through painful experiences and they come out bitter and they're of no use to themselves or anybody else. But the beautiful thing would be to come out of a painful experience and you have experienced healing from that, and you're able to take that healing to other people. And that's what you're doing, Shawte, and such a beautiful, beautiful thing. Let me just read some of these comments. Right. It is how we overcome adversity that defines us. Yes, adversity made me who I am. Hey, John, that's great. Watering the seed of adversity is true. Love these. So good. Really, really powerful stuff. And wherever you may be, I want you to know that you too can do powerful stuff with the skills, the experiences, the talents that you have. You can do powerful stuff. Shawte, is there anything that you might want to say to somebody out there who may be doubting themselves? Doubting that they're enough, doubting that they have what it takes to do whatever may be in their hearts to do. Because, I mean, for you to have gone through what you've gone through and have dreams that you're pursuing, I think there's a mindset that you have to be able to do that. So is there anything that you might want to share that could help somebody who is having self-doubt right now?
Yeah. I'm going to start with my new favorite quote. You just said it. Never waste your pain. That's a powerful statement. Never waste your pain. So I'll start with that. No matter what you want to do in life, there's two paths to get to that point. You can cheat your way to get to it, or you can follow the path that's set before you. If I wanted to be the best runner in the world, I could either cheat by running a little and taking drugs to be able to be faster than everybody, or I can practice, I can work, I can fail, because failure is a stepping stone to your future, period.
Yeah.
If you get from where you say you want to be to where you want to be and you've never failed, I would have to question if you're where you want to be.
Exactly.
So we have to, like I said, so no matter what you want to do as an individual, what you want to do in your life, what type of change agent you want to be to your family, you just have to focus on where you want to be. Look at the steps that it's going to take for you to get to that place and follow the plan. You have to follow the plan. if you do it because it's something you have a passion for, about time you get there, you're going to look back and see you've been there for years, maybe. And it'll just dawn on you, man, I'm here. But that's because you have a passion for it. You love what you're doing. So that's why I just encourage everybody to do. You have to be future fit.
Absolutely. And I know you've kind of shared briefly the role that mentors, you didn't use that word, but basically that was what you had. You had some good mentors that helped you through. How important is it that we find mentors or coaches to help us navigate the course of life? How important would you say that is?
Very important, because what it does is, as I was saying about the steps to get to where you want to be, it helps you not make as many mistakes or have as many failures.
Yeah.
Because there's always someone that's been where you're trying to go.
Yes.
And if you can find those people along the way, some of them are there for a second. You could walk through an airport and have a conversation with a guy, and that was your mentor for that moment. That person helped you get to your next step. As simple as that. You could be walking down the street and hear a conversation. That could be a mentoring moment.
Yeah.
But if you don't allow other people to speak into your life, you're surely going to be a failure. You'll be one of those people that know those know-it-alls. We've all heard of those know-it-alls. They know everything, and they're going to get there their way, and that's the only way. But there's always an easier way, and that's being able to let other people speak into your life.
And having a mentor is such a powerful thing to have. I am where I am today because of the mentoring and the coaching that I have received. And like Shawte said, it's just the difference between trial and error and failing as many times as you will still fail. It doesn't mean when you have a mentor you won't fail, but you just reduce the number of failures, and it just makes things a bit easy because they guide you, they've been there. And when you're choosing a mentor, let me just say to you, choose someone with the values that you have as well. It's not just about getting the results. It's about having someone who shares the same values that you have, that the things that are important to you is important to them as well. But I would encourage you to find a mentor. Definitely would encourage you to find a mentor.
And there's also, if because since we're talking about mentors, a mentor doesn't necessarily have to be somebody that's there either. It could be somebody that's on their way there.
That's true.
Like the one of the best examples of that is mastermind groups. Because the mastermind group, it isn't about the person who's putting on the group. It's about the people in the group.
Yeah.
Because there's a cohesiveness within the conversation of whatever the material is that pushes the group forward.
Yeah.
The who's ever leading the mastermind, they're just there to keep it on track. You know what I'm saying? So and a lot of people, too often people think that it has to be the person that's made already to be a mentor, and that's not always the truth.
No, that's true. So the power is in the group. The power is in the group, not in the one individual. And that's why it's called a mastermind group, isn't it? When you have so many minds coming together and you're all sharing with each other, that's the mastermind. That's so good. That's really, really good. Right. Okay. So I've got a few questions I always ask my guests, Shawte, as we begin to round this up. And I'm going to just ask you, and if you just give me really, really short answers to these questions. What is your life's passion?
My life's passion is to be a success in a way that allows others to see that your past doesn't have to dictate your future.
Right. Okay. Fantastic. Biggest life lesson to date?
Biggest life lesson. One of my favorite quotes is, "Excuses are lies we tell ourselves." And that's something I learned, that I wasn't moving forward like I could because I was using excuses. even from the past, that I couldn't do certain things.
Mm. And you know what? If anybody has the right to have an excuse, you do. You know, you have the right to have that as an excuse to say, wow, I can't because you know, they say that there's not the only thing worse than an excuse is a good excuse. So you had a good excuse, but you're saying even the good excuse is not good enough. So that's awesome. Okay, most embarrassing moment.
Embarrassing moment. I would have to say that at that moment, that because I felt like once it happened, I felt like I let my mother down.
Yeah.
So that was a very embarrassing moment because you know I could see it in her eyes, I can hear it in her voice when we talked that you know I had let her down, and that's part of my passion now. I want to do it better and do it right so she could be proud.
Make her proud. Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, whose mind would you most want to get into and why?
I would have to say, I really like TD Jakes.
Okay.
I would love to just have that opportunity because he's not just a pastor. You know, he's a businessman. You know, he's done movies. He's written dozens of books. I would love to have that opportunity, and I actually have a good friend that knows him. So that opportunity just to sit down with him. All I need is 5 minutes. 5 minutes just to pick a brain. It would most definitely be his.
Yeah, well, who knows? That might just happen. That might just happen soon. Okay. And do you have any role model? Who is your role model and why? Why did you pick them?
Who is my role model? I'm saying first and foremost, most definitely would be my mother, because she did teach me the right thing to do. I just decided to do something different. And then second, I would have to say it was my the pastor that married me.
Okay.
He's because he treated me like I was always there from the moment I met him.
Right.
And he was constantly an encourager to me to be able to deal with the youth and things like that. So most definitely him.
Oh, fantastic. Finally, final question. What does success mean to you?
Success means being able to do what you want to do when you want to without regret.
I've never heard that one before. That is so interesting. Yeah, that's definitely a different way of looking at success, but it absolutely makes sense. Absolutely makes sense. Thank you so much, Shawte, for joining us today. I'm just going to see.
I thank you for giving me the opportunity just to share a part of my life.
No, it's been an absolute joy. Let me just read other comments here. Somebody said, wow. Somebody said, so good. Somebody said, love this. Yeah, you've just been an inspiration really to us, and your heart really just comes across when you speak. And I know that you're already making your mom proud. And I just pray that you will continue to do that. And as you carry on with your desire to empower young people and to help them change their lives, that you will really see those seeds that you're sowing really come to fruition, and you can look back and say, yes, those 15 years was not wasted. Like you said, you can look back and it won't be a dark time of your life. It will actually be a light. You can look back and say, yes, it was worth it. So thank you again so much, Shawte, for joining us. Thanks everyone for joining us this afternoon. Thank you all so much. And I'll see you all same time, 2 p.m. BST next Saturday. Thank you again, Shawte. Thank you.
All right, bye.
Bye, everyone. Bye-bye.